If evil, why hot? I'm not qualified to answer that question. Instead, I'm designing a villain and hopefully killing my art block in the process. Now, I really wanted to give one antagonist in my story a face, but I've been hit with the dreaded artist block, meaning I've been looking at a blank canvas for an entire week now, and it's killing me. It's not funny. Hi, I'm Syniee. I'm not a YouTuber. Welcome anyway. Let's just start. For the story, the S-Class Hitman's Lawyer Executor, which is a story featuring two characters for my YouTube shorts, Dante and Brr, I started with some basic research. I know Pinterest has a certain rep, but I've been using it since the prehistoric ages, so I curated an AI-free experience for myself. Looking at pretty art helps me think. I also checked fashion magazines and touched some crafts for ideas. I gathered what I liked, including some throwaway designs of my own, and went right into drawing. The character I'm going for is called Michail, and he's meant to be a bit of an unassuming, cunning bitch. The face of an angel hiding true wickedness behind a smile. He's also to some degree deranged. It's not obvious, but it's there. When it comes to villains, I figured the fundamental question I should be asking myself would be, whose narrative foil are you supposed to be? Since I have one main character, Brr, and a male lead, Dante, I figured he's gonna be their combined problem. For those who have seen my OC lore video, just know that the jerk who left Dante behind finally gets an official name. Michail develops a major obsession with Brr, which is more religious and romantic in nature, as Brr, in his eyes, is a god he wants to conquer, a rare item he wants to own, something to dominate and break so he can protect it. I don't know, that's pretty scary. Michail essentially takes aspects of Dante's very own protective and slightly possessive attitude, Brr's cunning and slightly unhinged worldview, and his near fanatical devotion for a certain hitman, mixes those elements together and dials them up to the extreme as a reflective mirror. Again, scary stuff. Next, I needed to figure out Michail's overall aesthetic. Since the world is pretty modern, I could go for everyday fashion, but Michail is part of an S-Class guild known for their elegance, so perhaps something business chic with a tick of fantasy would be more up his alley. To be fair, outfits change, and I love giving characters different clothes that they would pick, so I'm not too strict about character design rules, as I would be if it's a one-time outfit that needs to tell an elaborate story for an illustration. It still does, don't get me wrong, but it's a story of a version of him, not the version of him. I quickly figured out that I wanted long hair that he binds into a ponytail, angelic curls, and lashes. I also pretty quickly switched from business chick with a fantasy surprise to business chick with a military flavor to ensure he seemed more combat ready. Whatever that means. In terms of his abilities, I found the idea of him being able to conjure up divine light really funny given his darker, more twisted personality. This also meant that I wanted to keep his color palette on the lighter side. Since he is meant to be a foil, I also liked the idea of him conjuring up his light in forms of strings or threads, much akin to a spiderweb trying to entrap a butterfly. Ideas were flowing, alright. I had a lot coming up, things I wanted to try out. I was kicking my art block's ass, and then I gave up. I don't know if you can relate to this feeling, but I felt a little stuck. Much like a butterfly in a spiderweb, I ironically enough felt like Michail had trapped me in the place of uncertainty. It was Michail's fault, and honestly, I should have deleted him from existence just for that, but I didn't. The character didn't entirely speak to me, design-wise, and I ended up very unsure of the final result. I lacked a clear vision despite all the inspirations at my disposal, and it was driving a good girl mad. Knowing that I'd be using him for shorts, maybe, I wanted to keep his design elements pretty simple. Nothing too elaborate, unless it's for an illustration, but now I had to struggle with the possibility that he looked plain. I don't like when things look plain. So I took a step back and asked myself, what would Kim Dok-ja do? Die, probably, so I decided against that. Instead, I took it as a sign to take a break, go outside, look at nature, and engage with the outside world. And maybe take a shower. Yes, I essentially broke free from whatever was keeping me stuck with this displeasure about this character and removed myself, and when I took that shower, I was back in the game. Yes, his creation had me second-guessing my artistic abilities, but in that brief moment where I was daydreaming about my OCs, a scene came to me. A bird in a golden cage. An image that perfectly encapsulated what Michail was supposed to be for Brewer. A golden cage. What was missing for me was the symbol of fear that Michail was supposed to subconsciously represent whenever Brewer sees him. Brewer fears being trapped again in a cage all alone. Sure, Michail was supposed to look pleasing to me, but he also was supposed to bring out Brewer's discomfort by just standing next to him. A cage, a warden, someone absolutely intent on doing everything so Brewer ends up with nothing but this cage. Him. So I approached the design for new and perhaps improved understanding of the character, and that's how I finally figured him out. So what do you think? Do you like his design? Does it work, or is the smile not sketchy enough? Do tell me in the comments below. That's it from me. I'm Syniee, I'm not a YouTuber, but do stick around if you feel like it. Bye bye.